At 6:30.
Wait, I have 6:31, so
Bring your meeting back from recess.
Or we're gonna
Start your.
we're gonna come back from recess. We're gonna go ahead and start the Warwick Community School and District Budget Hearing. So it's now 6:31. Happy to say that we have company in the room with us tonight, so a few members from the Finance Committee, a few members from all different corners of town, so welcome to Olivier, Lori, Nancy, and Bruce. So for those of you who don't know Matt, tonight we're joined by Matt Mopola, who is our business administrator, and I'm guessing you all know Carol, but just in case, Carol is our superintendent. And of course, we have our school committee and Brian Snell here as well.
Oh, that's all right. Again, so they moved this down here so that if you're going to make a comment, if you could call it off in there for the meeting. Well.
Yeah, we will be putting a recording of this hearing on the school district website. So just to make it available, because obviously we don't get a large turnout here, and I'm really curious to see if we end up getting more folks checking it out online. So the numbers you have in your hands, most of you, are just a small portion of the presentation this evening. But I wanted to make sure, or we all wanted to make sure that you had numbers that you could read, even if you were not quite there. Janice?
Hi.
Go ahead, take just some numbers, the ones that might be harder to read from your seat. It's not the whole presentation.
Just one thing, yeah.
It's
Okay.
2 pages.
And then if you are going to speak, you can come up here to speak so they can pick it
You know
up.
Janice knows.
Well, I think I will wait and see what I have to say.
Yeah, you don't have to sit there the whole time.
So
Some people might want to go up.
So presenting tonight will be, I'll be turning it over in just a moment to Carol and to Matt. So first I want to welcome everybody here. This is a tricky part of the year, every year. And I think that I want to first thank Carol and Matt and the entire school and district team for putting together the numbers we're going to see tonight. It is a particularly tricky year for budgeting throughout Warwick, and they've already taken some feedback from the FinCom. And this is a budget hearing. It is very much, it is to present the budget as it stands and sort of do an update on where the school and district are right now, but also to listen. So thank you very much, Matt and Carol. You've already had the microscope on you. You've done just fantastic work in sort of digging through all the details. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Carol to talk a bit about where the district is, and give me just a moment as I finagle my way to the presentation.
So thanks everyone for coming. It's really nice to see so many familiar faces. So we've had a really exciting and productive here at the school and the district. You can go to the next slide.
Let's see if I can.
This is the mission and vision, which is where we're always liking to start. So the school and district is committed to providing an innovative, engaging, and hands-on education for its students. Through nature-centered, place and project-based learning, students will study in and about the environment on our 25-acre woodland campus. Students will learn to think critically and develop solutions for challenges being faced both in Warwick and around the globe, especially those related to the environment and social justice. So we've been making really good strides towards that mission this year.
You got a good job. You have that memorized. You were able to look around and greet people and smile. And
Just noticed
you didn't miss a beat.
You said it so many times. That's cool.
So, this is sort of the translation of the mission and vision into what it looks like day to day. Hello, hi Jalen, hi Jill, thanks for coming. So we really strive to have a curriculum that is deeply engaging and is standards aligned. Even though we're very innovative, we are a public school in Massachusetts, so our curriculum is standards aligned and research based. Because of our small size, we're able to be incredibly student centered. Every student has an individualized learning plan, no matter what their learning needs. Project-based learning that's inspired by nature, much of that curriculum created by the teachers themselves. Then learning with and from the community, we constantly have many members of Warwick. I see many of you in the room right now sharing your knowledge, the history of this place, and teaching the students about it. Then constantly modeling lifelong learning. We talk all the time about being a learning organization, and you'll hear more about that tonight. So here are some things that are continued growth this current year. So we continue to work with Nancy. They've been a long-term partner. Paul Barco likes to remind me he's been around longer than I have. He is really active coaching with our teachers, co-teaching, leading all of us on hikes to learn what the tracks of different animals look like, and coaching really in an individualized way each teacher to develop her own units. So that's continued this year. We had the expansion, our wonderful pre-kindergarten inclusive preschool, which not only has been really wonderful for our youngest students, it's been a real cost savings to the district because we have been able to locate many students in the town who have some really complex disabilities, who, if we didn't have this preschool, would be needing to go to specialized programs in other districts. It would be very expensive in terms of transportation if we were to be sending them, say, to Amherst or to some far away place. So not only fantastic for the students and their families, also good economically for the district. Then we've continued to have really talented artists in residence who come share, both culturally and artistically their talents, and let the students try whatever their medium is. Right now, the students are creating a nature mural with Susan Marshall that they're going to be coming to the select board to see if they can be installing it right in this hallway. It's really very beautiful. And another thing that we've really been building on as part of being a learning organization is this idea of collegial visits. So, when you visit schools all over the country, certainly principals are always walking through classrooms. What we really believe here is it isn't just the principal and the superintendent who should be visiting the classrooms. Teachers should be visiting one another and learning from one another. So really empowering teachers to be learning from one another. So here are some things that were really brand new this year. First, we have an amazing director of special education. Many of you know Dr. Brady. She won $100,000 grant that really allowed the staff to learn how we can build really individualized supports for students. So even though this was just a one-time grant, we received the training and the tools that we'll be able to carry forward and use in the future. Really fantastic professional learning in math and writing we had this year. And specifically, we were focused on a piece of research by a mathematician called Peter Liljehall that talks about building thinking classrooms where students, you come and visit our classes, you'll see the students standing at whiteboards, solving math problems together. And the research has been very compelling. And if you talk to our students, they will tell you that is way more fun than it's ever been before. Just as I was saying about being a learning organization, we're really building a bench by having an aspiring superintendent this year for the first time. We have aspiring social workers. Part of being in a rural district, you always have to be building your pool of who's going to come next. So part of being a learning organization is having folks who are learning how to do that next step in their career. This year more than ever, we have so many of them. Then really just having data that's showing our growth. So we set a goal to have at least be in the 50th percentile for growth in reading and math, and we hit and exceed that. So looking to have even higher goals next year.
Jess Marshall has joined us.
Oh, hi, Jess.
Hello there.
So, and here are some other things that were brand new this year. 100% retention of our teachers, which, you know, if you talk to our teachers, I think a lot of it has to do with being a learning organization, being in a place where you're really empowered, where you're designing your own curriculum along with your coach from Antioch, where you're having a chance to learn with and from your colleagues. That's a reason to drive to Warwick if you live in Northampton. I think that's a really inspiring workplace that makes it worthwhile commute. Then we've got Nettie Harrington, who teaches 5th and 6th. She's also teaching music. So we have a really very low cost music program that's way more robust than it's ever been before. I'll take a moment to encourage everyone to come to our first ever musical. It'll be 5 o'clock on Friday, and that's led by Nettie. We doubled our enrollment, both through beginning to take school choice students, but also having a tuition-based pre-K program. So just last year, just in this past year, we've doubled our enrollment. Then we've been able to negotiate a new tuition agreement that allowed us to participate in a financially sound way in school choice. So the first students went to Mahar. We would only have to pay $5,000, which is just what we're receiving for those students. So that was really a success, and now we're negotiating the same with Pioneer. Then we have some legislation that's moving forward, 2 pieces actually, that would help both Warwick and other tiny districts around the state not have the financial burden of accepting school choice students if they don't operate a secondary school. Then finally, this is also thanks to Dr. Faye Brady. We've been recognized by the state as a green ribbon school. This is a really amazing award. The state is going to be coming on May 27th, and we were chosen from across the state because we really focus on sustainability, we really focus on environmentalism, we focus on student and teacher well-being. So we're really proud of that. So these are just some photos, because photos are, you know, sort of break everything that we've been sharing alive. Here we have students who are making set for the musical that I was mentioning this Friday night. Here's students sharing in our most recent community exhibition of learning. We'll have another one on June 4th, and we hope that you will all come. And more community exhibition of learning photos. And this is just some students who are engaged in building thinking classrooms that I was referring to before. This is a new pedagogical approach to teaching math. We're still using our standard-based curriculum of illustrative math, but using this new pedagogical approach to make it more exciting and engaging. Woman who's serving as an intern for me this year, learning how to be a superintendent, has been doing some really wonderful writing professional development for the teachers. One of the wonderful thing about interns, they come at no cost to the district. So she's a doctoral student at Harvard, and she's doing some really amazing writing professional development with the teachers who are then turnkeying and doing those same techniques with the students. Students are all engaged in this all school nights once a month on Friday. So all the students in the whole school are writing about the same prompt. And then we meet as a faculty to review the students' writing all together. And just examples of nature-centered project-based learning. Yeah, and here's some pictures of our artists in residence this year. Yeah, so what we're really planning for next year isn't anything big and new and different. It's just really deepening our knowledge on what our mission is all about, and continuing to do it better. More opportunities for teachers to be in one another's classrooms, learning from one another. Yeah, so just really focusing in on having the teachers be empowered to not only take part in the professional development, but more opportunities to even be co-leading it. So just in terms of some of the most key points for this new budget, as we think about all that we accomplished last year and then going, we have reduced revenues. Many of the grants that we wrote initially have, we sort of lived out the lifetime of those grants. The good news is for many of them, we were able to use those grants for training that we continue to have that training. If we have new staff, we can share that, what it is that we've learned with these folks that come on. But certainly it is a decrease in revenue. Another thing that I mentioned before, this pre-K program continues to allow us to accept students with really complex learning disabilities and be able to meet their needs right here within the school, not sending them somewhere else. Then, so you'll see in a really nice graph that Matt has made, we're really putting the majority of the budget, 90%, towards students, meeting students' needs. Then, here are some guiding principles that we're using to put together.
Which we don't know.
Clarity. So one of the things being a tiny district, historically, favorite things, we're pulling it from all different places. One of the things that we're trying to move towards is just more clear budget, or someone who's doing a particular task is just gonna be listed on one line rather than 10 different lines. Just having a more clear budget. Salaries. All of our salaries for this budget have gone up 2.8%, which is the same as what the town is doing for this. And really being conservative in terms of our expectations for fiscal funds. There's a lot of unknown in the federal government right now. So just being very conservative in our expectations around federal funds. Yeah, I can't quite see that one because just thanks to.
Jess, can you hear us?
Anyway.
Hey, Jess, can you hear us okay?
Yep, I can hear you great. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see. So just we've been really mad and I've been really creative. Just trying to cut as much as possible without cutting anything that would really impact the students and families. And just continuing to continuously write grants. When you don't see me here in Warwick, I'm somewhere with a cup of coffee writing grants. Okay. And just here's some of the things that we did to try to bring a conservative budget to you. And we made some cuts, including having a smaller contingency. Usually we have 17,000 in our contingency fund we've cut. So that next year we'll only have 11. We're continuing to do some creative things to save money, such as having volunteers teach some of our special classes rather than having more case of. There's some people in this room who've helped by volunteering to teach specials. Then, just as I was saying before, only having a 2.8%, we're certainly due to be doing salary band review, but we're just gonna do a COLA raise at this time. And then, limiting areas of growth. The only real increase that we're doing in terms of health and social emotional is increasing the number of hours for our counselor, which is something certainly the staff are asking. And Jill knows we had a parent meeting today, and that was a parent request also to have more counselors on site. So I think that might be all of my. Okay, so yes.
Before you move on, you're underselling two things, your farm broker, which was grant funded through Dave, Graham, and you've made a more robust visiting artist program too, so you've expanded all your specials. But I know Dave's worked hard with Jess and others on that farm grant, so I'd like to elaborate on that if you want. I just get to see it, I help out with one of those. So
Well, that's certainly thanks to Jess, who's our director of operations, who everyone knows and loves. So Jess and Dave have been writing farm grants and have won multiple. So one of the specials that the students have is this grant funded farming course, really learning, everything from how do you compost to last week they were making homemade butter. So really learning the ins and outs of farming, but that has so many science standards that they're meeting through that teaching in a really hands-on way. Do you want to say anything else, Jess?
I'd just say it's also a pretty great opportunity once again as a learning place that Dave is going for a certification, so he's getting this opportunity to collaborate with the classroom teachers to develop curriculum that stayed aligned, that also is so fun for the kids to engage in and so connected to our community and who we are as a town. And it's very cool to see. It's fun to see him so excited and to just see that we're finding another way to just engage these kids.
Thanks so much. And just final thing that I'll say about Dave, and Dave is learning a lot from Olivier also, so I just want to shout out Olivier. But because we have hosted so many Smith students in many different ways, we now have this partnership. So Dave is actually getting a free master's at Smith. So we're bringing in Smith students, letting them learn from our master teachers, and then in exchange, Dave, who's doing this sort of initial enrichment teaching, is getting his master's so that he can be a classroom teacher in the future.
It's really cool.
So he's certified in bachelor's, he's getting a master's.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
and this is his area of expertise.
Alrighty. Questions before I turn it over to Matt?
Right. All right, so the first thing I want to go through is just how the budget is appropriated, the general fund budget. So I'm gonna give a little synopsis of chapter 70. Chapter 70 is the state aid that all school districts get from the state. So it's broken up by a couple parts. So there's actual revenues that were received from the state, which are the top two numbers. So as you can see, the chapter 70 state aid is up about 4,000, which is, very small amount. Like, we'd hoping for something higher than that, and unfortunately we didn't get it. So another revenue
Can I
was,
use for a sec?
yeah,
If you guys wanna come closer so you can see the board there, it's not on this stuff.
No, no, this part.
If-
Detail, I guess.
Yeah, if Matt can,
Come on down.
because this is not, what you're talking about now is
oh, it's
not,
not in there?
not in
Okay,
here.
yeah, so.
Well,
like,
this is
yeah.
301 and 302.
Yeah, this has the revenue change, starts with revenue change.
All right,
Is there a way that you can put a pointer on this as they're going through? That would be helpful, yeah,
It's small.
that's okay, I
Yeah.
think it just draws their eyes to the right numbers.
There's no way to make this
Is there
bigger
one
on
of
the
them?
screen.
Is that one of the more options? Is there like a little laser pointer?
I don't know. Well, if you wanna come closer. Please do. Sorry, Matt. I
That's
just
okay.
wanted to
No.
make sure people feel like they can
yeah,
access the information.
Is that and is that for dry?
White.
I don't think you want to get that big.
You trying to make them bigger?
all right.
Sorry.
Or at least point at stuff as he's talking.
All right. So the top number. Chapter 70 city, that's like the basic aid we receive from the state, so we're rolling up about 4,000. That's not a good increase and much less than we hoped for when we originally started talking. The next revenue we'll receive is charter school reimbursement. That's to reimburse us for, money that's being sent out by the state for charter school students that are going up. So that number is increasing, which is good, so that's up 23,000. However, there's the next two numbers are called assessments. There's a sheet that's called the cherry sheet. There's two parts of it. The revenues we're receiving, then there's an assessment sheet. The assessment sheet has two numbers on it that affect us. It's school choice sending tuition. That's not the amount of money that the state is sending out to us that offsets against our chapter 70 for schools, students that are going to other districts. So as you can see, that's up 36,000. The next one is charter school sending tuition. That's up as well. So net, the net education amount that we're receiving is down about 50,000, just under that, about 48,000.
Can I bring a signal?
Go ahead.
Just so folks know, school choice kids that are leaving are at the high school level. So we have high school students who are choicing to other districts. We just didn't want folks to think those were kids choicing out of our elementary school.
Matt, could you tell us what the total of that net education down is?
Yeah, it's like just about 48,000.
Less than.
Less than last year. So it's down net is down about 48,000.
You said they're choicing out the charter schools, is that?
They're choicing, like they're choicing, say, to Frontier.
So it's just another high school, it's not a charter school, but they call it charter schools?
There's two different ones. There's a school choice setting,
Okay, yeah.
and then there's also a charter setting. So charter would be like Four Rivers, and school choice would be like high school kids going to Frontier.
I didn't know we had to pay for kids to go to church.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not a thing, like, we're not actually sending a check out to the schools, it's net, the DESE is doing, the state is doing all that, and it's everything that DESE does is netted out of those numbers. So net, we're receiving 250,000, there's no really in and out.
It's confusing because it uses the word sending, but they're gonna we're gonna give you this much money, 4,000 increase. And oh, by the way, out of the money you're gonna get, we're subtracting the choice and
Yeah.
we're subtracting the charter. So here's what you're left with.
Yeah,
So there's no money exchange, the state's all doing that, and then that's what we actually get in chapter 70.
yeah, so everything's broken out, like, that's how everything's broken out. then I have here foundation enrollment. The chapter 70 money is based on, on foundation enrollment, so we did have an increase in enrollment. Which is a good thing, especially in the future, we can continue that, we shouldn't see, decreases. And then I have it broken down by chapter 70 local funding in total. So you can see that if you look at the total line, we're up, about, 80,000. Or just so like a little over 80,000, so about 85,000. So then I have it broken down, so you could see, how the chapter 70 number is, but like versus the local funding. So our local funding had to go up about 130,000 to make up for that decrease in chapter 70. So you can see how that's broken down. So the local funding had to take up a bigger portion of our increase. And then just on the bottom, you can see how the school committee appropriation is broken out. 20% of that is from chapter 70, 80% of that is local funding. Any questions on this slide?
I have a quick question. So all the way up, I see state chapter 78, 396, and then down I see FY 27, net chapter 70, 259. Why is it different?
All right, so see how you see like the budget estimates, all those four numbers net to that 259. So you have the 396 plus the charter school reimbursement. So you add those two up. And you subtract the other 12.
Subtract 70.
You subtract those out, yeah. And that's yeah.
Those sweet little parentheses are negative.
Negative numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Can we get a paper on that sometime? Is that?
We can actually give you the whole slideshow. If you want
I
it.
don't know about that.
She just wants that slide printed out.
Is something like that at the website? Is that where you would post it?
It will be.
It will be on the website.
And we'll try to get you a paper tonight.
Yeah, we could get that one slide on paper. That's a good slide there. Yeah, thank you. Cheryl is doing it as we speak.
Yeah, this is a nice format, Matt. It gives the
very
whole
helpful.
picture.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Yeah, it's, the whole thing's broken out.
About the next one?
Yeah. All right, now here's our other revenues that we received. So in addition to
Nice to do that.
So addition to state aid in chapter local funding, we also received some grants, some revolving accounts that we have money coming in and out of. So here's just a breakdown of all the other revenues that we received. The top three are school lunch revenues. I have them increasing by 2.5%. I think that's a reasonable amount. It's just kind of like an inflation factor that I've always used. So the top three numbers are school lunch, and those are up 2.5%. School choice revenue is the number of students that we have coming into the district. Right now we have 7 students at 5,000. So that we have 7 students at 5,000 plus some special ed increments that make up to 43,000. So if we have a student come in and they need additional services, the state gives us additional funding. So that's the 43,000. Then you see that it's going up to 125,000 next year because we are anticipating having 25 students in at 5,000 apiece. So I'm not really gonna project out any special ed increments because we don't really know what we're gonna be getting for the special ed increments till next year. So I want to be conservative and project out 25 students at 5,000. It may look like it's a really big jump, but right now we already have 19 students that are signed up to come here next year. So we just need 6 more, and it's only still March, so we have time that we're gonna hit that 25, and I'm confident that we're going to.
Right, when you say signed up, you mean school choice students?
School choice, signed up to come here, so kids who are not living in Warwick, who live in Massachusetts.
Does this include the preschool or is it separate?
Preschool is separate, yeah, school choice is separate.
School choice starts at kindergarten.
Yeah,
I know, we have a preschool program.
Right, but there's no
Yeah.
school choice because it's not.
I know.
There's no
No, he's not.
state relationship to the preschool.
Did that answer your question?
Is decreasing by 22.
yeah,
I just wanted to know maybe where those would show up here, but that might be down the line.
so pre-K question, yeah.
Oh, the pre-K tuition.
Yeah, that's one in line, we'll get to that. So then the non-resident tuition, so the school choice is all Massachusetts residents, so if someone lives in a neighboring community, they wanna come here. it goes into that school choice revenue. Non-resident, we have one student who lives in Vermont who's coming here. 9,000 is the amount that Carol negotiated to for that student to come here, so it's 9,000, it's gonna be the same next year. The next one answers your question. Preschool tuition is students who live in the town who are preschool students who want to come here. We charge them a tuition rate. That goes into the that number, 53,000. I'm thinking we're gonna have a similar amount of students next year. We're gonna increase that by about 2.5%. Again, my inflation factor.
Excuse me, Matt, does that number include non-Warwick resident preschool?
Yes.
So that's a whole preschool, because
Preschool.
there are people tuitioning their kids to our preschool who don't live in Warwick, in addition to the preschool kids that live in Warwick.
And,
But it's all going at the
But they all
same
pay
pot.
tuition.
yeah, well, I think that's-
Yeah.
And they're all paying tuition
Yeah.
because it's preschool.
Right.
The other thing is that, you know, the other preschool programs that are running in other districts, Pioneer and others, are all oversubscribed already, so we will fill the slots that we have, there's no doubt in my mind, we'll fill it, we've got the openings, we'll fill them.
All right, and then we have the preschool tuition, that's for those preschool students. General donations, we've been getting, you know, donations from community members. I'm hoping that goes up 2.5%. And then the next few are grants from federal grants, Title II. I'm hoping that goes up a little bit. SPED IDA and SPED early childhood. So that's for our special ed students. I'm hoping those numbers stay flat next year. There's some uncertainty right now what's going on with the federal government and how they're going to be funding education. I'm hoping those numbers stay flat. From what I've heard, I've been in a number of you know, webinars and stuff. I think we should be pretty flat on those numbers with the IDA. The next one is SEL grant. This year we're receiving 99,000 of it. So we don't anticipate receiving that right now. However, you know, we're gonna be able to probably be okay without that, because that money is used for kind of like one-time social emotional types of expenses, like some professional development for our teachers, some other programs that are one-time types of things that we're able to implement. You know, it's gonna affect our students, but it's not gonna really hopefully affect the day-to-day operations of our school that much. Because you know, we've been using it for one-time types of revenues. Rural school aid is a aid we receive from it's a grant we receive. It's 13,000. I'm anticipating that staying the same. That number is a decrease from what we received in FY25. So that's, you know, but hopefully it's not going to decrease anymore. Project Bread is a grant that we received for our food service, 2,500 this year. It's possible that we're going to receive it yet next year. The state has not announced what they're going to be doing for those grants next year, so we really can't anticipate it. So I have that zeroed out. New School Ventures is a grant that the district has received in its first 3 years of opening. It's sunsetting now because we're going to be going into our 4th year. The 40,000 we received for that we're not going to be getting next year, so that's again another decrease. This Rural School Achievement Program, just under 25,000. That's a new grant that we received this year. We're going to be getting again next year, which is a good thing. So I have that in there. And the farming reinforces education. That's a grant that we received this year. We don't know yet if we're going to get it next year. It's possible, but again, we don't know what's going on with the Fed and how they're going to be funding education and how Massachusetts is going to be funding it. So we can't put that in there. So all in all, our net we're down 81,000, and which is a 22% decrease, as Carol mentioned in the previous slide.
The 200,000 that we got, that you were able to get, well, that was each year over 3 years, right? Did we not get it this year
So
as well? Because
this is the final, this was the.
but that's 200,000, not 40,000, right?
Just the final year is only 40.
Oh, they
They
dropped it.
give you more in the beginning and then. it's
Okay,
less.
so, okay. Oh. Right, thanks for that correction. I
Yes,
was, I was hoping we made a mistake.
Yeah.
It was 200,000.
All right, any question on the revenues now? All right, so now I'm gonna get into the expenditures. So our budget, our general fund budget and our whole budget overall is broken up into 3 parts. We have district-wide, which is district-wide is basically administrative costs that the district has. Is district-wide is elementary cost, which would be our next slide, and then we have middle high school, which would be like our tuition to high school students for their post-education. All right, so let's get into district-wide. So doing this budget, I kind of do a combination, like if it's a normal line item. Yeah, 301, which is District 1. So like the top three numbers you could see, you know, if you're looking at FY 26 versus FY 27, like the first one's down 100, the next one's flat, the next one's up 100. So those net out, but it's just because I'm going year over year expenditures and I try to, you know, adjust it as I go. So those three are, you know, net to zero, but one's up, one's down, and one's flat. The next one is superintendent salary. You can see that's up 12,000 year over year from 26 to 27. The reason for that is we're gonna be looking for an interim superintendent for next year, up, which is 5,000. There's a 2.8% increase on the salary, which all staff is scheduled to get next year. And then if you look at that, there's the number in there, 20,000 SC. That number is down, the 20,000 is an offset from school choice, so that 125,000 that we're receiving in school choice, we're gonna be using 20,000 of that to offset the superintendent salary. Last year, we used 25,000 as an offset for that line from the new school, so we're not gonna have as much of an offset on that line, so that's why we have the $12,000 increase from that.
Matt, can I just make a?
Yeah,
So when you're looking at fiscal year 26, you're only seeing part
yeah,
of the entire fiscal puzzle. That fiscal year 26 column is just the school appropriation part of the budget. It doesn't show the offsets that Matt was
yeah.
mentioning, the grants. So the superintendent line is not changing as much as it looks, basically, because that we were using offsets.
Offset, the bigger offset. And
So, I'm sorry, if you're having an intern superintendent come in, they're going to have the same salary?
The interim? Yes.
I will.
That's an interim, not an intern.
And
So it says-
I said interim.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so it's an experience.
I didn't pronounce it. Interim.
Okay, at the top. Yeah, I will take it, I'll have a very small advice, stipend, but most of the salary.
So. But she's just being trained now.
Oh, that's an
That's
intern,
miles.
but there will be a person who's interim.
Oh, okay.
Taking over for people,
Not the intern.
not the intern.
Okay.
We have both.
She's
No,
not ready yet.
okay.
She's doing a great job, and she's not.
New superintendent coming from.
Oh, that's a really good question.
There's a search on.
It's a problem that was solved and is now open again.
Do we need one really? Can't you just, Zoom us in?
She's gonna work full-time from Paris, right? Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
all right, so next is the next big change is the business, my salary, business administrator. It looks like it's down if you're looking at the school committee appropriation down 2,300. However, that's just because there's an increase of an offset. Last year the offset was 5,000. This year it's 8,000. So that's why it looks like it's down. It just difference in offset. HR recruiting is up 500. The reason for that is just year over year expenditures. There's been some additional recruiting and advertising needs, so we needed to increase that line a little bit to be more in line with what our actual expenditures are. IT support, that line looks like it's increasing, it's just up 2.5%. Last year, there was $8,000 offset from rural school aid. We're not gonna be applying it to that line item this year. Was used in other areas. IT non-instructional software, again, a different offset. Last year, there was no offset. This year, there's an offset of 2,000 there. That's why it looks like it's going down, but it's just, again, it's just the offset and it's up 2.5%.
Did we have a column that showed what the offset was and where it came from? Was that on another slide?
Well, for last year,
You mean for 26?
I didn't put it,
Yeah.
it would be too small if we put it in,
Okay.
but I do have it in there though. I have it.
So I'm just wondering, like, the offset as we project out for next year. Is it a secure offset that we would be applying at fiscal 28? Or is it like we're guessing, it may be there, it may not, because if it's not there, then that would be a huge jump in those numbers.
So
So I'm trying to figure out how you.
just going through, like, so if you look at school choice, I would say that's hopefully
Yeah.
a constant.
Yeah.
Rural school aid, which is at 24,000.
Yeah.
And the 13, those are probably we'll probably get those again. So the offsets that I use, I think are pretty fairly certain that we're not, because like I don't have, like. SEL wasn't budgeted last year, so we're not really losing that, or, new school was one that we lost from 26 to 27. I don't think going 27 to 28 though, just looking at the revenues that we have, I don't think that we'll lose any that we're using offsets. I
Okay,
could be wrong, and again, you don't know what's going on with the Fed
Right,
and
right,
what
right.
education,
but
so.
if you have an idea that looks like it's gonna
Yeah.
be pretty stable.
But like the biggest ones are school choice and the rural school aid, I don't think we're gonna lose this, I
No.
hope. And then the last one is the special ed department head. There was a big offset on that line, just like with the superintendent from new school, we're not gonna have that, so that's why it looks like it's going from 15 to 23, less of an offset. All right, before the next slide.
Well, yeah, before we move that one, just, I'm gonna mention, this wasn't the year to bring it up, but your hardware. Computer hardware is gonna have to, be something you guys look at hard next year, because, you open the school with the equipment you have. The student, equipment is bare bones state standards, it's needed for the MCAS test, whether we like that or not. It's a number that we're gonna have to really look hard at, whether it's grant funding or something else to get, a piece of that moving along. Right now it's zeroed out, this is the year to start looking at it, but you're gonna have to next year.
Yeah. All right, so now we have elementary, which is the bulk of our budget. So the first two is clerical and supplies, those are just up 2.5%, like I said, it's an inflation factor. The next one is school leadership, head of school, that's principal, that's Stephen. So his salary is just good, so his total salary is going up 2.5%. However, the way that it was allocated in 26 was a big bulk of his salary was being paid out of the teacher line. However, his duties are not really teaching like which we originally kind of thought was gonna happen, so a bulk of his salary was moved from the teacher's line into the school leadership line. So you could see that it's going from 46,000 to 87. To offset that, we have that rural grant of 24,949, so that's offsetting it. So his salary is not increasing in total, it's just the way we allocate it, so he's just going up 2.5 like all the other teachers, so it looks like a big increase, but it's not. Admin assistant, that line is going up 2.5% too, and then. Yeah, I want to go through just the regular ed too. So regular ed, it looks like it's a decrease, that's because, money went to the principal's line. However, there is an additional teacher in there. Carol, would you like to say what the teacher is going to be used for and how that's going to be used?
So we have a good situation where we have a lot of Warwick residents, kindergartners, which this is first we've had so many, so we need a new kindergarten teacher, and the good news is, that's it, it's a good problem to have. One of the things that we're planning to do is hire a new teacher and then fill those extra seats with school choice. So we're gonna be able to really offset the cost of that teacher with filling extra seats with school choice students.
Yep. All right, and then so then that line though we're going to be using, so that's going to be completely offset by school choice, so there's going to be really no net cost to the general fund on that, it's going to be offset by school choice. The special subject employees, which is like art, music, the specials, we're adding 4 additional half days a week, so that increases it by about 11,000. The special ed instructional aids, that is up about 14,000. We're adding a half an additional instructional aid. A portion of that is offset by pre-K revolving account, which is the tuitions that we saw on the revenue page. Instructional supplies is up a little bit, but we're going to be offsetting that by 4,900. The reason the instructional supplies has to increase is because we have you know, the 25 additional extra students, so obviously, if we have extra students, we need extra supplies, so that increase is being offset by school choice. Then going down, you know, we see, you know, a bunch of 2.5% increases on some of those smaller instructionals and consumables, equipment, library materials are all 2.5%. The next big one is the special ed adjustment counselor. That line is going up 25,000 in total. However, that's being offset by school choice, so you know, the 25,000 is gonna be additional hours for our adjustment counselor in there. So it looks like it's net up only 2.8%, but it's really up 25,000 as like, you know, what the district is receiving, but it's gonna be offset by school choice, which is a great thing.
And she's gonna be here more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we're gonna
so,
be here more.
yeah, so this is like the one place that we did have, the social emotional learning grant that we've been winning these past couple of years has been paying for the additional hours of the therapist. So the appropriation budget has only funded the therapist 2 mornings. And I guess it just isn't enough time to have a therapist on state. So we've been funding that through that this year we're putting into the district budget, having her here 2 days. So that's one increase that we are hoping for, and certainly the parents and teachers have been advocating.
And I have a question on. So on the district-wide budget over here, we have the technology part.
Yeah.
So I guess I was thinking that was around, you know, our software and the different things that we're doing administratively, because it's in that budget. And then, you know, when Brian asked the question, I was looking on the elementary, you know, what did we put in here? And I thought there'd either be a placeholder or some amount. Is it, am I missing like what we're calling it in here? Because I don't see like technology for students. So
That's what the computer hardware school-based, or is that?
what is that?
Yeah, that would be like student so.
So that would be Chromebooks and
Yeah.
things like that.
Software, hardware.
Hardware.
Hardware, yeah, hardware is hardware, but software would be like,
Yeah.
yeah,
There's
things like
some
that.
Exactly. So
We
that
have
would
our
be-
instructional software and licenses on 2455. Those are that's what we're using with the students, that software.
24, okay, so I was looking at 2250
For the hardware.
and you're looking at what,
Yeah.
24, what?
54.
55 instructional software.
But wouldn't the Chromebooks be under hardware?
Hardware, yeah.
They would be hardware.
So we have $308.
We have one.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe.
And it just wasn't the year, but we have to
right.
really have a
So
line.
we should probably, I'm sure you're on this, you know, start setting up a replacement plan.
Yeah,
For the
plan.
next few years, we're gonna replace so many.
Brian, you are here. They get laughable.
No, I got it. Received it, I think.
No problem.
Yeah.
But when we first had 2 school committee meetings ago, I asked Carol. She did a test. She'd already done a test, didn't know testing. The computers would be sufficient for the
There will be sufficient for the MCAS,
There
but
may be sufficient.
yes, sufficient.
She also dug up 5 that like were sort of newish.
Mhm.
So that's like
Good.
the plan for right
For this year.
because
Yeah.
we don't have the money to,
Oh, I know.
but she does have.
Excellent. Excellent. She and I have talked too,
Okay.
but yes, I did miss the last meeting, so.
That-
yeah,
I wasn't meaning to call you out about that. I just
Yeah,
wanted to.
I wouldn't have been able- I would have just been one more.
That we talked about it.
Thank you.
Right,
No,
thank you.
I just want to make sure we have a placeholder for it.
So that's what I was, to see what we have.
I just wanted to ask you about the special ed counselor for K through 6. Is that the one with the contract or is that somebody else?
So that's totally
Got you.
So she is the person who's the adjustment counselor who works with the district. One of the things that Jill was talking about that we've done and how families can also save money is get regional counseling services down to school, and then we connect those counseling services with the families' healthcare. So it makes it really easy for families. They don't have to go driving to Northampton. But then there's also no cost. Thanks
you.
for the
I-
clarification.
I just was confirming that that's what it was.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
The next big increase is the 70 bus transportation, that's up 4,400. We're adding an additional run with our 7-day transportation, which is our van. So that's gonna be an additional 4,400 in cost. And then finally, you see the bottom contingency, that's down about 6,000 or just under 6,000. That's a number I hate to decrease, because there's so many variables that go into a budget, but that's contingency is the money that, if we have any unexpected expenses throughout the year, we're able to tap into that line. That number had to decrease just so we could get our overall increase down. So unfortunately, we had to hit that number up. So that's a decrease of just under 6,000, 5,500.
But didn't you say when we were talking about this, that so far this year, we're under the contingency that we have in this year's budget?
Yeah,
So it seemed reasonable to be able to decrease it.
yeah. I mean, that's something that generally gets.
But that money is gonna go back to the town.
That's,
It won't go,
that's a
no,
separate issue.
Or is that gonna go into our,
I'm just talking
it
about-
won't go back to the town, we'll.
that'll go in our revolving? Or,
No, it'll end up getting spent and then we'll,
Yeah, that's a separate issue.
Okay.
yeah, so-
This is-
yeah.
This is
Yeah.
just
It comes out to an accounting.
Yeah, I
thing,
get it.
I can explain it.
I get it.
Yeah,
that it's reasonable to have a lower contingency for next year because we're not
Yes.
using all of the contingency for contingency expenses this year.
Yeah.
Right. But that contingency,
however, those revenues are down, so.
so
All the big revenues.
if we had an additional tuition student,
we can
And
use that.
we'd be looking at a tendency, or we'll have to be on top of, we'd be making reductions in other places to cover that, because we won't have that
Yeah,
for.
exactly.
That's a question about the student.
You gotta speak up, please.
Excuse me.
The mic's over here.
So we have a tuition agreement with them this year, that's over, and you're renegotiating it. The students that are currently enrolled there, that means that's over for their tuition. We have to continue to pay the tuition agreement for the students that are already there.
Or-
For students who are already enrolled in Pioneer, even if we didn't get a new tuition agreement, those students would be able to continue to go there. And so we continue to pay 2.5% more each following for their tuition.
But you're gonna try to get a tuition, I don't know if I'm asking it right, we're trying for a tuition agreement like we have with Marmot.
Yeah.
So then, but we have to keep paying the 17,000 for the students that were on the original tuition agreement, or just the 5,000?
So what we'll do is continue to pay something, and it's more like 20 for kids who are Warwick residents. The tuition agreements that we have with both Nahar and Pioneer are for students who are resident Warwick students. That will be something like 20, but what we've negotiated with Nahar, for the middle negotiated with Pioneer, is the students who are choice, they would just be receiving the 5,000.
For everybody from our town.
No,
School
Just
choice
the-
students.
so for
So the
example,
ones that
saying,
are already on the tuition agreement, they won't ever be considered school choice.
No.
no, they're residents.
They're residents.
So school choices, but we have an obligation, if we accept somebody in a school choice here.
From another town.
But
Another town.
but
We are, let me finish first though, we're responsible for following all the way through. So they fall under that umbrella with us, so they could come here and then go there, wherever our kids go. So we have an obligation to them. So there's two different things you're talking about, school choice is one thing, and our kids on the tuition agreement another, and they're two different scales.
But theoretically, I thought that if we don't have any agreement with Pioneer, we're just not gonna have an agreement going further. Is that a
Well,
possibility?
well,
And
you
then
ha- you
our
have to
kids
have-
choice in there.
Yeah,
But the kids that are currently the juniors or the sophomores, they're gonna keep on paying the $20,000 no matter what.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that, and then this is actually part of our next section in terms of what the total budget is. Where that's the last section of the budget. At the moment, we are talking to Pioneer. So since this is our budget hearing and it's gonna be on the website, and we're in the middle of discussing things with Pioneer, I will say that we intend as a school committee to come up with another tuition agreement with Pioneer. That is our current process. That was the first thing we talked about tonight.
And we have an obligation to commit ourselves to something for our kids.
we have to have a tuition agreement.
We have
with
to have a
somebody.
tuition agreement with somebody.
Well, we do though, that's, I just was
Yeah.
was questioning.
So the choice, I'm sorry, I just missed some of this as you were.
No, it's
Talking.
confusing because that's the part they're trying to fix.
So if the school choice students, can they choose to go to another school that we're then required to pay for?
If it is one of our tuition agreement schools.
Only if it's one of our tuition agreements.
That's our school for post-elementary. We have to have a.
It's an extreme oddity
It
with
is.
the current regulations and laws, and that is, if you saw the picture of us lobbying at the State House,
Yeah,
that's what
so-
we were lobbying.
I understood that, but so basically, our situation is right now, they can go to Mar.
What they.
Or
Pioneer.
Pioneer,
Or.
under a tuition agreement.
So the students that don't live in Warwick that have choiced in here, their option is to either go to Pioneer, because we have an agreement where they take our choice kids, we take theirs.
But we don't have that choice agreement with Pioneer
No,
right now, we have it with Mar.
And we do have it, it's not, it hasn't expired yet.
It's under
We're
negotiation, right?
currently under an agreement with Pioneer that has not expired.
But I didn't think
But
that
we're
was for
negotiating.
$5,000.
Right, that
Now,
one's
there's
not.
two different categories, it's really.
Not right now.
If, when you say choice, you're talking about kids who are coming in from another town to school choice into Warwick Elementary School, then yes, we have an obligation to provide them an avenue to secondary school education. So when that's one aspect of our agreement with Pioneer and Maher is what do we have to pay them for school choice students? And in both cases, well, in Maher's case, we've already negotiated that we will only have to pay the $5,000 that we get from the state for school choice students.
So
So
they're
we
giving us,
pass it on to them. So the school choice students going to going to Maher and hopefully to Pioneer won't cost us any extra money. It's just a pass through of the 5,000.
But until Pioneer agrees to 5,000, students could potentially choose to go to Pioneer and we're responsible.
No.
So
No.
we have intention not taken students, so there are no school choice students from Warwick who are currently in Pioneer, and there are none who are old enough to go to Pioneer under this contract. We intentionally took younger school choice students, so we wouldn't get ourselves into that bind until we had figured that out.
You know, Pioneer's been doing the same thing.
That's kind of the way I've understood it all along,
Yeah.
but hearing what we're saying tonight kind of just opened it up
It's
to.
so complex.
It's extremely complex and it's a nightmare that Desi has created, so.
Yes,
And
understood.
anyway, we do need to move forward.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, let's go ahead.
All right, so I think
then
I'll-
we're
I
taking
think-
care of some of the discussion for the
The
next
other thing is,
section.
there was a meeting before this.
But let's-
stuff is-
Alright, so I think I'll mention, so let's go to the middle high, the next slide. Alright. So this is our middle high school students, which are switching those students. So you see here, we're going from 287 to 327,
This side, everybody, number 308,
yeah, 308.
count 308.
So we're up, two extra students, the reason from going from 287 to 327 is we're up two young students. That is actual students that were up, so this year we currently have 15 students, middle high school students, next year we're going to have 17. My original budget, budgeted for the 17 that we actually know that we're having plus one more. I think that's the best practice. However, our budget is so tight, we're not able to do that. That being said, if, like Alan just mentioned, if we have another student move in, we're hitting up the contingency and then we have no additional money. I would have liked to have an additional student in there just to have some cushion. A lot of things, kids can move in or a family moves in and then we have an extra student. So that's an area that does concern me, that we don't have any wiggle room in that tuition. Middle high school, we're required to transport them, that's up 2.5%, that's by contract, so we know that what the cost is going to be. So you see that 2.5% in the next two lines. We go to the next slide. Is the next slide, an overall summary. You can see we're up 82,000. If we look at school committee appropriation up 82,000, which is a 7% increase. We're hoping the town is able to, meet that increase. 7%. Any questions on this slide? No.
I think they're trying to figure out.
Yeah, that's
But
that's not the paper.
Like
It's
on
sorry.
paper.
Well, yeah, but isn't that what this is, this bottom part?
Not that.
No,
It's,
That's not it.
well, it's the same as this line. The Warwick School and District operating
That's
expenses,
what I was looking,
that ends with the 7%.
which is on the page that
Sorry.
starts with 308.
No, it looks different.
It's very hard to understand, so
Yeah.
that's the line that Matt was just talking about.
The 1,268,480.
7%.
Yeah.
7% increase
Yeah.
at the end. Yeah,
yeah, so he did that, so then he could then subtract out from that the
right.
Yeah.
Should I go to the next one? Oh,
This slide is just a breakdown of general fund budget. So as Cal mentioned before, 90% of our budget is going directly to our students. So that's instructional, transportation, tuition out. So that's going directly to
Can you name the colors, because that will help
the
them.
orange, the lighter green,
Instructional,
darker green,
transportation,
two greens.
tuition out,
Yeah,
and that's contingency.
Yeah.
And this is non-instructional.
so that blue wedge is
The blue is the
is the
non-instructional.
only non-instructional.
Yeah, non-instructional, and I guess,
This-
and I guess
this and that sliver.
maintenance and,
Yeah.
which is 820.
So this is services, these are services, these are services.
Yeah.
When
So
you
the-
calculate the
Oh, maintenance and the blue. Okay.
Warwick's per student cost,
For those of you guys.
you're using the. Are you using the tuition and the instructional, what are you using? It's like, what's our per pupil cost? Like last year, this year, is that
Yeah, I
something, you know?
got that.
Okay.
yeah,
get it,
I would
get it.
prefer to make that a whole
get
separate
it,
meeting,
yeah.
because there's about 5 or 6 different ways to calculate that.
Yeah, I was just wondering which categories you use, but we can talk about it later then.
Yeah,
That would be a separate.
yeah, we'd have to try to run down like the whole DESI website and.
Right. Well, they have a number, I'm wondering if
Yeah.
how ours is.
I would, like, if I was gonna do it, I probably would just do our total budget divided by students
Right.
simply,
Right, that's, I think, what they do,
yeah,
but it makes it look like we're really wealthy and we can afford that
yeah.
when they do that.
So, and all these are gonna be on the website when they're posted.
Alright,
Did you want to explain the? You know, that those 4 lines, the Warwick School District operating expenses up 7%, 7%.
Oh, do you want the next slide?
And then the chapter 70, and then is that the next slide? I don't know.
no, well, the next slide is just, I don't even really wanna. Just kind of go through it quickly, I kind of went through all these lines already, it's just a summary of what I discussed on the overall budget.
Yeah.
And I have, how I came up with the changes, I thought it was a good thing, Ed, just so we could see. Just cause, but I wasn't able to fit the offsets on it, so I
Yeah.
wanted to have the offsets in there, so this is just back up to what I've done,
Yeah.
you can see 26, 27, how I came up with the numbers.
You laid this out very
Thank you,
nicely.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's, easy to
you.
follow and
Thank
yeah,
you.
I think you did really good.
Thank you. All right, so that's the next three slides, so, it's just how everything was, calculated. Yeah.
So here's the.
So you have a handout on this, right?
This
That
is
looks
up
familiar.
here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So let me know if you want me to talk.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could you go ahead, discuss this, yeah.
Okay, so, if you remember any of this, by the time you get to town meeting, you'll see that the format looks very similar, and that was intentional. It was in part two, because I was using my graphs for this. So, we've gone through the school budget is what we've been talking about. The total for the school budget, as we've been discussing, is the 1,268,480. It's at the top of so the bottom chart under Warwick School District budget, including town and state support. That fiscal year 27 number, that's the number we've been talking about. That's the number that operates the school and the district. That includes, high school tuition and includes transportation.
Sorry, what was the question?
But there are items that are on town accounts in the budget that still have support for the school. So I thought for,
Students or town.
yes,
Say that again?
so they,
Well, the help-
actually-
the help is-
yes.
It's two.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
gonna go for it.
So at the top, I've listed the expenses that end up in the town budget, but still support the school. And the district. All the expenses that support this building. Which, over the years, most of you have been here as we went through the whole discussion about reopening the school. This is a building that the town owns and needs to support regardless. But we've got our school open again. So our building expenses do support the school. So this chart actually lists the actual year-end expenses for fiscal year 25, the one that ended last spring. The budgeted expenses for this year, fiscal year 26. And it shows that we've trimmed those expenses based on our actual expenses. For the budget for next year.
Can you read those figures? I'm not sure what line you're on.
Okay, so it is,
Maybe Brian could point since he's standing right there.
so it's fiscal year 25 year end. Is shaded a little bit,
That's this column here,
and the top number is 51,523.
right there.
That was the actual building expenses for last year.
Everybody got?
The actual is here. Oh, it's appropriate. This is actual appropriate there.
Yeah. So they have their paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot
Yeah,
what we're reading
in
it.
fiscal year 26. Appropriated, the top number is 57,203. That's how much we put in the budget to support the building for this year. For next year. At the moment, the recommended amount, I'm saying it that way because FinCom hasn't finished its work, is 42,000. And that drop is based on where our actual expenses are landing. There are fewer projects going on in the building. Over the last few years, we've been able to rectify a few issues. School committee does get a stipend, that's total for all 5 members. And then the custodial payroll, I will say that we have had, been very lucky to have very talented custodial support. And in many cases, thank you, Olivier, there have been projects that have been done in-house that really support the school. So for next year, we've taken that custodial budget up about the same amount that we dropped the building numbers. Capital improvements. We have had over the last many years, put 25,000 a year into a capital improvements fund for bigger projects for the school. I shaved some off of that because we're doing some shaving for the town budget. And I do think it can absorb that. And the hope for that line is to always have money available. So if heaven forbid, a big system in the school were to have issues. We have that money available, ready to go, to the tune of
I have a question.
60 to 80,000.
I would
Jalen.
just double check that we didn't actually make a vote for that $25,000 every year. Just at some, when we first established that fund, I think it was a vote by the town.
It
to
is.
always put that amount every year.
Uh,
That's my only question. It may not be how it was voted. But I'll double check.
It is a article. It has been an article for the last at least the last 5 or 6 years. I didn't check before that. But it has been a separate article.
Okay, so it's only a 1-year article every time?
yeah,
When it was initiated? How? 'Cause
It was
when we-
initiated to create an account, so we are able to keep putting money into an account that survives the school year. So if every year we put 25,000 in, right now we have 66,000 available. Because we kept putting money in,
Oh,
and we
I-
haven't had to use a big chunk.
I'm just, my only question was, how the initial, when we set up that account, what the initial wording was. Whether it was for a specific number every year, or whether it's just to create that account.
so,
That's my only question.
so when we see the warrant, we'll have to look at that, that's.
all I can tell you is for the last, because I didn't look back that far.
yeah,
It goes back far enough that I didn't go back
goes
to the
way
town.
Goes
It goes
back
way
to
back.
When we built the school.
Yes,
So Janice, when the select
Jalen.
board, Jalen, did I say Janice, sorry, Jalen, when the select board is dealing with that, Alan, you and I can.
yeah, I know what the Warren article looked like for the last 3
Right.
years.
So we.
I just don't know what it looked like
We will.
back in 1998.
We will double check. Doesn't matter.
So you don't think you could
But-
change it? you
But
mean?
for the
Okay.
last several years, it has specifically said 25.
Every year that we voted it so far.
Right.
So I will double check to make sure the 20,000.
Yes, we're
I'm saying it had to be 25.
That's my question.
The warrant could have said 30 and people voted for it, but there was like
It's
a
always
minimum
been
$25,000 was going in every single year.
We'll check it.
You know,
Yeah, and the town should be able to approve that.
Yeah, I would be surprised if it has a specific number, just
I would
because time value of money. It changes.
Work within that thing.
But it's worth mentioning, thank you.
So I'm gonna move on to health insurance,
That's a biggie.
because that's the biggie.
That's this line right here.
Yep. And this is gonna look really wonky, so I wanna be really clear about it. The actual use for school employees in fiscal year 25 was 40,523.
Could you say that and please repeat that one more time?
So the
Diana?
actual use of health insurance, you know, the town portion of the health insurance benefit for fiscal year 25. So at the year end, what we actually spent was 43,520.
For the whole town, government, and everything, just for the school.
Just for the school. So. They're always. So that looks a lot lower than the numbers to the right. One of the reasons, and it is just one, is that you have to budget extra there, just like Matt was saying, he's nervous that we don't have extra room in the tuition. That is even more the case for health insurance, because right now we have several employees who work for town who are eligible, who are not using health insurance at all. We have, you know, employees in town who are, taking individual health insurance. And they could become eligible or decide that they want family insurance, which is considerably more expensive. And I believe we'll have 22 employees total when we get somewhere in the 20-ish range of
22
employees.
eligible for health insurance or 22 total
Eligible.
eligible?
It'll be in the range of 20-ish.
Yeah.
I've got a chart I can show you. that
Yes.
gives much more of a breakdown if anybody's curious. So, but we only have just over half of them actually take it. So when we do the budget, we say, we gotta leave ourselves some room. We don't try to put in the budget for everybody who's eligible, but there's a number in between. We leave ourselves a buffer. Next year, on both the town side and the school side, we're gonna have some transition in positions. and we're gonna have another teacher. So when you start to move to the right from the fiscal year 25 actual, then you move to fiscal year 26, what we budgeted for this year. We knew at the beginning of the year, we were gonna have a 20% increase in health insurance. But we had been kind of over budgeting for that line. So I worked with Ryan, our treasurer, and you know, the person who's in charge of benefits. And we came up with a number that we thought was safe at that point, 200,000. Luckily, we were pretty conservative because come October, we got another 20% increase in health insurance rates. And it's good that we did. We were very conservative. We survived that. There were other towns that had to come in and get more money from their townspeople. We didn't have to do that. But of course, that got me looking really hard at health insurance. And that's where I did more of an in-depth model of how many are eligible, how many are taking it, what is each cost. I worked closely with Ryan to see how confident he was, you know, about the health of our healthcare insurance. They are working with a partner now, HCGIT. I don't know if anybody's watching it that closely,
Yep.
but those are the initials. They do have somebody they're working with. He came back from the latest meeting saying, you know, their supporters are pretty confident that they're in much better shape this year. Their increase is 12.48% for next year, and they fully expect that's going to be it. None of these October surprises. So that's the good news. But the bad news is we got a lot of turnover. We do still have a 12.48% increase. We're still reeling from the double increases from last year. So that 100%, we're going to use that $100,000 in fiscal year 26. We're not going to use all of it, which is great. It'll go into free cash. But I think we need to budget that $175,000 for health insurance for school employees for next year. I don't think we can go any lower. I had a higher number in there. I shaved it down. I worked with Ryan to get it to somewhere that's safe, but not too low.
I think that's reasonable.
So that's where we are with the town supports.
I have a question about how.
Yes.
What percentage of the, whatever people are carrying, do we pay?
The town pays 75%, the employee pays 25%.
And they can go to a family plan and the town covers the 75% of the family plan?
Yep.
Pretty generous, actually.
Yeah, I think it depends on your perspective, but yes.
Well, everybody's struggling.
Yes, everybody's struggling.
How much is the premium for the family plan?
There are 2 different family plans available. And one is a PPO, which is considerably more expensive.
Well, we're talking 20,000.
We are talking 22,000 or 38, 35. It's over 30. You don't remember?
Nope.
We were just staring at it earlier.
Has it jumped that much, huh?
Between the 2 different
Yeah,
types,
yeah.
yeah.
And if you were running unions, your unions didn't get 2080.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, it's expensive.
Yeah.
You know, it's just,
But the unions would be pushing them, if you're not getting raises, to be doing 28, and I know that for sure.
Yeah.
20% from the employee and 80% from your employer. That's a pretty standard educational formula, so we're actually a little low on that as far as the rate. 75 is actually not bad.
Any other questions about the town supports or health insurance in particular? All right, so now I just want to tell you a little bit of what I've done at the bottom, because that is actually going to look more familiar to the town budget too. And the more people I can have pre-educated on that, the better. So now we've taken the school and district operating expenses, the ones we've just been talking about with Matt. There's the year end for fiscal year 25. There's the appropriation for fiscal year 26. And there's the 1,268,480, which is what we've been talking about tonight, adds up to be with the 7% increase. And then we look at state support, chapter 70, and it shows the net support from chapter 70. So earlier we talked about this is how much the state says we're going to get, but then they take money back for things like charter school tuition and school choice sending tuition. So if you look at the percent increase after the net chapter 78, because it has been on the downward trend, the increase is at 14.82%. So for those of you that live by the numbers, you can see that a big chunk of the increase that's going on this year is actually from a drop in support from the state. And then, of course, there's the total at the bottom, and that's the total that, that's the tax number. That's our wallet number.
1287039
Yep.
is the wallet number, yeah.
Any questions about this chart?
Yeah, how do we get the last one? What's like,
So it takes the subtotal after chapter 78 is the school operating minus the state support.
right,
And then the last number at the bottom just adds the number from up top, the town,
I see, okay,
the
thanks.
town supports.
Oh, the 278, right. Does everybody get that? The 278,
Signy?
519
Thank you for making a noise. Did you have a question there online?
is
I
at
did.
128
Is this
to get that bottom number. Someone's talking about. I know.
is this 17.7%? If we enacted this budget, is that the increase that we would need to do in the tax revenues?
Related to school.
Just related to school,
Yes.
not including the increases we would need for the town as well.
Yes, that would be separate.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Sorry, Louise. I didn't time that right.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure people understood which numbers you were talking about that got added together to make the 1287039.
This also isn't showing anything about Franklin County.
No.
Is there a reason why we don't include?
That is an entirely separate district, so that's part of the town budget.
Okay.
And those numbers actually aren't, well, I haven't included those numbers because they were just voted 2 nights ago. So our next FinCom meeting, oh, I should.
But it is part of the total education.
There is a section in the town budget that's total education that includes more than this.
This is probably just.
I'm muted right now.
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
Oh, sorry. Well, now you know. I don't know anything about
So
about
just to
technology.
separate that out, because the previous obligation to Pioneer when the district left, there's going to be a separate assessment for the OPEB obligation that they calculate each year. So it's not in our budget because that's an ongoing thing, but it is a school expense and Matt will account that toward the net school spending.
Yep.
But there'll be, an additional amount that gets calculated. But again, that's not part of here.
Right.
That's because of the retirement, that's the retirement fund.
Yeah, that's the other retirement basically.
The
They've calculated.
other post-employment.
Yeah, that I
benefits.
do have in the town spreadsheet.
Yeah, and I just, that's what I was looking to see if I had the budget, because they've done the budget, but I haven't.
Who's there? Who are we talking?
Pioneer.
Oh. Oh, they had that
We
in
just
there?
don't consider Franklin County Tech as being a part of our district.
It is actually an entirely separate district. We've been a member of the Franklin County Tech School as a direct district member since it was formed. So there was no relation between Pioneer and Franklin County Tech, and there's no direct relationship between the Warwick School and District and Pioneer. They're separate districts.
The Warwick Community School District Committee. So it's just not under your bailiwick.
No, we have a separate representative to the Franklin County Tech.
It'll probably be getting a lottery. Now it's closed.
Well, it sounds like they've.
It's
caused
open
problems.
again.
In a lottery
Yeah.
funded.
So all those together will be the total education.
And is that because they can't go directly from this school to that school?
They're just entirely separate.
Just separate.
Gotcha.
So there's 19 towns, we're one of them. We get so many openings each year. And then if we have more kids than the 7 slots or whatever we get, then they go into a lottery. But we're responsible, we'll get assessed for those kids that are attend there as a separate assessment. So there'll be a assessment for,
And we have one school committee that, remember there, it used to be George Say, I think it still is.
Nope,
No? Who was it now?
it's Todd Reed.
Todd Weed, because he knows that.
Oh, Todd.
Todd Weed, and they have their own school committee, their own budget and everything. So any questions? I guess is it.
Yeah, there was one other, and we have information about enrollment, so if anybody wants those details, let me know, because, but, this slide's great. I saw this picture and I'm like, this is what this budget year looks like. And then somebody told me, yeah, but they're smiling.
That's before they hit the.
They don't know anything yet.
That's before they hit the big dip.
no, they're going over the cliff.
There is a dip on that hill. It's pretty profound too.
My favorite part is that there's actually 4 kids on that sled.
Yeah.
Not happy, there's 4 children on that sled.
And at
It's
least,
there, it looks like an optical illusion, but there's a 4th head.
And they're running.
Yeah,
They're off the ground.
oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they've got lift.
yeah,
Big picture.
Any other questions? Nancy?
No, I just appreciate Beck that you have taken the time to get the information to show me exactly what the budget is. Thank you, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for your.
so what was the percent increase this year over last year? 7, and that's certainly well within the range of what most districts are doing. Many are higher than that, actually.
Things where it's like 20 or.
Well, between Frontier and Pioneer, it's between 9 and 12 is pretty much, and those are the places that are really trying to touch.
But ours is misleading that this is the 7% for the school. And then when you figure all the other things of the loss and aid and everything else.
I understand,
Much bigger,
understand.
but
still, that's still.
Thank you, Nancy.
All
All right, thank you for joining us.
No, I'm talking about the 9.
And I want to thank the FinCom for really showing up. I appreciate it.
Hey, been calling,
The FinCom.
just gave.
You're getting
Showed up,
It showed up.
asking
You
questions.
showed up and you're digging into the point that I said thank you and you missed it because you were so busy looking at the numbers.
I would move that we
That's what we were afraid, that's what we were afraid.
make a motion that we close the public hearing on the budget.
Siggy's online too, thank you, Siggy.
In a second for that.
Yep.
Anytime.
Second.
Somebody to second it.
I second it.
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second to close the public hearing.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye. I move that we
And your
adjourn the
time,
meeting.
and your time.
Yes, it is now 8:04.
Yeah,
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Yeah.
Thanks, school committee.
Got a second?
Thank you, second.
Good job, everybody.
And we seconded it, and we did it by roll call vote. Everyone aye. Done.
Thank you. So nice to meet you.